A local contractor once again facing accusations of taking money and not doing the job he was paid for. Back in 2023, First Alert 6 Investigates spoke with a man who says he paid Mark Schneidewind for new siding, but the project was never done. He was later convicted in the case. This week, Omaha Police arrested him for theft by deception. Prosecutors claim a man paid him more than $55,000 for a new roof. Schneidewind was supposed to forward that check to a lending company. Investigators claim he deposited it into his own business account and never fixed the client's roof. He's also accused of writing bad checks to himself. He faces up to 20 years for each charge if convicted.
Now,